Good afternoon, folks. We are back, and today we are looking at save games. So, the issue with save games and the blueprints is that we can only have one save game. So, how we get around that is by creating a save game file that saves the other save game files. Okay? So I have basically created a save game file that has this is the saved data. Okay, so this is when we actually save a game, and this isn't going to be save game names. This is actually going to be the single name. Now, can we move this up? Yes, we can. Okay. So fundamentally, we probably don't need the controller here. We need the save game name. We're going to need research items. We're going to need buildings, connectors, and all the stuff that comes from all the other settings. Okay? But in our save game slots, we're not going to have that, or that, or that, or that. So what we're going to have is our save game name plus and is current. Now, what we're actually going to do in the meantime is we're going to create a struct. Okay? And it's going to be struct well, it's going to decide it's going to be called something else for some reason. So it's going to be struct save slot. Okay? So we can open this up. Now, no, I didn't. I thought I had actually created this. Struct and data. Struct save game. I don't think it's in the right place. Right, no matter. No matter. We created this earlier and we need to delete it because we've already got a menu controller. So we can go back in here and do our save slot. Right, and it's going to be slot name, and that's going to be a string, and that's going to be is current game, and that is going to be a bool, and finally level name, and that is going to be a name. We're going to save that for later We're probably not going to use that for now. So our save slots are actually going to have a variable called slots, and those are going to be of the type struct save slot. Okay, so that's going to be a delete, that's going to be a delete. Save. So, all well and good. So we go back to our menu controller. Right now I'm going to show you what effect this has. We're going to have our slot name, our slots slot name, okay, and that is going to be FA save slots, okay. So when we come in here, we're going to check to see if this slot exists, and if it doesn't exist, we're going to create a save game object called FE save slots, and then we're going to save to that slot this object, which initially will actually be empty. Okay, so let's see that in action. So if we look at our saved games, we have nothing in here, right? But if we run this code, we can add a breakpoint here and we resume that. So we step over, and we notice that this is false. So we step over and it creates the new save object, and then it saves it again. Okay? And now when we check on our saved games, we have an FE save slots. Okay? Now at this point, our FE save slots is empty. Okay? But what we can do is we can stop and we can play it again. We can resume, and this time it should actually load. Now it's still empty, but it'll load. So it looks for that slot, it returns true, and it loads. Okay? So we can stop that. And if it doesn't exist, what we can do is get this, we can drag off this, or at least what we can do is, so from the save game slots, we should be able to get the slot. We can get the slot. Okay. We can break it, and as you see, it's got nothing in it, or it will have nothing in it. So by default, when we save the game slot, what we actually want to do is make one of these, okay, and have it like a default in it. So we can make struct save slot. Okay. And remember, this save slot has got, actually this should be an array. It's going to be an array, okay? So when we actually first come in, okay, by default we'll call this default save, and it is the current game, but we're not going to give it a level because we don't really require that yet. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get slots, then we're going to add right, and then we're going to pop this in here, and that's going to give us a default game save that we can then actually read. Okay, so but what we need to do here is we need to delete this again. You'll notice this file is 2K, but when we run this again it should be slightly bigger. Right, so we step over, step over, step over, step over. Step over that and resume. And now when we check our views, it still says 2K, but I'm pretty sure it is actually bigger. You'll notice it's got default save 1 and current game 5. Okay, so that has basically given us our save slot. And now what we can do is we can set this to our save game. Well, actually we need to cast it to FE save game slots, right? And then we can set it. Okay? And then what we can do is we can say print string now we've set it to is current, right? So what we can do is we can get the slots okay, that's not going to there yet. So we can basically loop around our slots and find out which one is the current. Okay, right, so right, that's the exact thing we didn't want to do there. Right, so what we can do is pop that under there, bring this along a bit. Then for each of these right? We're going to break that, and then we're going to say, is this current? We branch off here. Let's go pop it in here. And then if it is the one, if it is the current slot, then we print the string. Okay? So basically we're looping around the slots to find out what our current slot is, to load it. Okay? And finally in here we can have current save slot, and that is going to be of the type struct save slot. Okay, so in actual fact we're not going to print the string here. Well, we still could, but at the end of the day what we're actually going to do is set this variable to the one that comes up as is current. Okay? And then we'll print the name of it just to finish that off. So I'll zoom in a bit. Right, so let's print that 20-second duration. And this basically becomes the current slot. And that can go down a bit. This can go down a bit. This can go to here. Then we can straighten this. And there we go. We're going to be deleting this anyway, so that's fine. And we shall move these two down a bit. Move that back up out the way. And we shall start giving ourselves a bit more room by moving this out the blooming way. Okay, so what we're doing is, if we don't have we check to see if the save slots exist, right? So the only time this should not be true is the first time you load up the game ever. And if it is, then we basically create a default slot, right? And we make that the current game. And then we should also set it here just for the hell of it. Not actually for the hell of it, we're going to need to pass it into our level, right? Right, so that is that. So we can save that and we can test it out again. Now we've already got our save slot, so it should work. So we should see our slot name pop up here, which should be default save. Resume, and it's not there. Awesome. Okay, so we'll add a breakpoint there. So stop that. we'll press play again. Resume. Resume. Right, so we've made a mistake here because it should look for FE slots. Apparently that's nothing. So that just fails, okay? So let's try load game from slot. We'll try this. Now usually I have not used this, but it kind of says that you should use that, but if it's not finding anything, then basically sod that. So save that, press play, resume, step over, step over, step over. So it's going to try and find this slot, and this time we have a slot, and we can zoom on that and it says none. And that's because we're stupid. Right, because it should be the slot name that goes in there. We didn't set any levels, don't know why I did that, but hey ho. Right, so we can save that, and we should be able to try that again, and we should be able to just start disabling breakpoints, resume, disable, resume, disable, resume, and there is our default save point. Okay, so all good. Up to this point. Save that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do this twice, okay? We'll duplicate that. This is just for testing purposes again, right? But we're going to manually add two things to the slots thing. So let's call it my test game, and let's make that one the current one, okay? So basically what we'll do is we shall do that, and then duplicate that and bring that over here. That's going to go in here. That's going to go in there. So we're by default now going to have two slots. Now the only way we can do that is to go back in here and delete our save game. Okay. Now, the interesting thing is if we put a breakpoint here and we press play, right, and then that's created our save file. And now if we go in here, you'll notice we've got our 2 slots. And the one that is current will be the one that is actually printed on screen. So my test game, okay? So the next thing we want to do is we want to start incorporating this into our menu, etc. Right? So I'm going to take all the breakpoints off, right? Now, there's a couple of ways we could do this, right? When they click on New Game, right, we could bring up a please name your new game. Or we could do it. Actually, that gives us another option here, because what you should have is a new game or a continue and a load game. So that would give us different options, but we'll worry about that in a second, right? But the one we're going to look at here is this load game, right? Okay, that's actually not the button I was meant to hit. What I meant is this manage data. Okay, now we have a little thing here. And now what we can actually do is pull in our slots from this, okay? So we have our save game ref. And we shouldn't really call it save game ref, okay? It should be save slots ref, because it is the slots rather than the actual save game data, okay? So the next obvious point here is to go to our UI and go to our main menu, and in our main menu button, right, we can check out which one it's doing, right? So we have this widget, manage data, and we have the save slot data, okay? So this, if we go to the graph, okay, and on pre-construct, actually what we'll do is get, well, this is actually controller, okay, and this is controller. So on event pre-construct, we're going to get player controller, and then we're going to cast to FEMM controller. Right, and then we're going to set this variable. Now that gives us reference to our controller, which is going to give us reference to our save games, etc. So this is the thing that's doing the loop. We no longer require it to do it this way. So what we'll do is we'll give ourselves some space, right? And we shall delete that. We'll pull in our controller, right? And then we'll say slot. We're going to say, yeah, slots. Get save slots ref. And then we're going to get the actual slots. And then we're going to say for each. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to right align these. Actually, you know what? We'll left align them. Right, and then we'll pop that up here. Join this up. Then we shall delete that. And we shall delete that. Join that up. Okay. Then we're going to come off here, we're going to break our save struct, we're going to put in our break the struct there. Then we're going to save that. And then in our save slot, I don't know why this is actually being horrible. But I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do that. Then we'll do that. Do that. Then our button, right, okay, that's fine, and whatever. Is that even visible, or is it just because it's black, or whatever? Okay, whatever. Right, what we'll do here now is if we press play and manage data, we should have had something in here. So what we'll do is we'll go to the graph, and it doesn't do well, actually it did do shit. What we're going to do is stop it, right? And it's because our right, so this horizontal box, let's say, should be that size, right? And this is where I really struggle, because I'm completely rubbish at this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to some weird color so that we should see it on either black or white, even if it's crappy. So you'll notice there it's got my test game and there's default save in my test game. There's the two games, okay? So we can see from both of these that it's actually showing up. It's just that I can't design widgets. That's the problem here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that, right, and then I'm going to delete that. We're going to set it up again and we're going to paste that. In fact, you know what? I don't think we even need to do that. Right, this is button. So we'll call this button game save name. Actually, it's game slot name. Okay. So stop that and save it. And to be quite honest here, I think we can copy that, then delete that, and then paste it. Okay. Now, why on earth this isn't showing up, I don't know. Okay. I've got entirely no idea. Right, wait a minute, that should be one. Okay, that. Right, we'll save that. And it's going to give us a error. And that goes in there. And hopefully now we have our two. There's our two saves. Okay. Which is great. So we've got our saved names, right, and we don't need to print this anymore. Okay, so we can delete this and we can pop this back here and save that. And we might actually need to make this something slightly different. We might actually need to make this like a list. Right, we got a list here. List. Or no. Okay, whatever. So one of the points here would be, right, that when we do this, we actually, right, okay, so let's have a look at this for a moment, right? So this is our save slot widget, right? And what we actually need here as well is the slot index, right? So that we can directly interact with this particular. So we want to set this and expose on spawn. Save that, right? And when we click on the manage data button, right, we refresh that and we actually get the index. So now we can easily reference the index, and when we reference the index we can easily delete it or whatever by removing it from the array. Okay, so that is exactly what we're going to do, and we shall continue with this in a couple of minutes. So I shall be back shortly. Okay, we're back. Now, the next thing we need to do is, let's see what we've got so far actually, right? So what we've got is we've got our two slots there, okay? And these have a button. And what we really want to do is change this slightly, and in our saved games we want a slight embellishment to the text here, which says click to delete. Okay, stop that, save it, and in our graph when they click on a button, okay, it's going to delete this save. Okay, now we will put something in between, but we're just basically going to save it, right? We're going to delete it. Actually, that's the wrong place, I believe. It's this button slot name, and we click on that. Right. So what we can actually do here is we can get the slot name, right? Now this is the actual, yeah, we can get the slot index, right? Then what we're gonna have to do is get the controller again, right? So we'll set that up at the start again. So we shall say controller, which is main menu controller, and it's going to be of the type controller save that, and then on pre-construct we're going to get this. In fact, what we're going to do is we're going to do that one. We're going to copy that, and then we could paste this through, but hey ho. Right, anyway, we'll do that. In fact, you know what? Let's just do that. So what we'll do is we'll make this expose on spawn. Okay, and then in our main, when we actually create the widget, right, we'll refresh this. So when we actually create this, we'll actually pass in the controller. Okay, that just makes it a bit easier. And then we're going to do something with this. Copy that. We'll go back to here, and on our click we're going to do that. Then we're going to get this, and we're going to remove index. Then this is going to add to here, join that up, and then we're going to duplicate that, then we're going to save. save game to slot. Then we're going to add a variable, and it's going to be slot save name, and that's going to be a string. We'll save that, and it's going to be fe underscore save slots, I believe. We'll just check this. And right, got that. And it's obviously not that. Right? It's in here. And it's F save slots. So we can copy that. And that's right. So now, in theory, we should be able to we're actually going to have to pass in the managed data asset. So we just call this parent. And that's going to be of the type W managed data. Save that. That's going to expose on spawn. Save that. And if we go back to here, we are basically going to refresh the nodes, and then we're going to get a reference to self. We shall plug it into the parent. We can move these back up. I think that's all the stuff we need. Okay, save that. And now we are ready. If we click on this, once we save this, we are actually going to refresh the previous one. So we're going to clear this grid. So in our event construct, what we can do is we can move this stuff up out the way, right? Get that out of the way. And then we can create a custom event. We can call it refresh list. Okay. And in the refresh list, we can do that again. And then we can get our GP, save games, and then we can clear. Okay, and then this can actually just go into here. Right, we could have actually, we could have done that, and then if this goes in here, we could do it like that. Okay, so if we do it like that, that's fine. We can move these across a bit to make it look a bit nicer, that's fine. And then finally in here, we just get parent, and then we refresh list. Okay, put that there, bring this across. Okay, save that. And now, if we say manage data, we can remove the test game, and you'll notice it doesn't exist anymore. And then it refreshes. Okay, now when we bring that up, there's nothing left. And what we want to do now is we want to stop that, and we've got to delete our game because we have no games left in our game. So when we play again, these two should be back, which is fine. It's exactly what we expected. Now we could put something in between here so it's an OK to delete, blah blah blah. But the functionality is there, so that's what we want. We want to gradually build up the functionality on this. Okay. So the next point is to actually look at this widget. We need a continue. Okay. So fundamentally, we need this widget, right? So this is the main menu, and the main menu widget, right? So we need the graph here. And that's basically saying 0 to 5. And we're creating the widget here, which is the button. Okay. So it's the button that's selecting the button mode and the image. Okay, so we're adding the child. Okay, that's just the part. So we're doing 0 to 5. Okay. and we're adding this widget. So what I'm going to do is we're going to close a lot of these tabs. It's getting a bit too busy up there. Right, we can open some of these back up when we need them. Right, so this is the main menu button. Okay. Return image. So what is return image? Okay. So we've got a switch on EMM mode, okay? And we're gonna have to have a new one. Okay, let's have a new one. And it's gonna have to be continue. And it's actually going to have to be the very first one. Okay. So we can save that. One, two, three, four, 7. So now what we want is, if we go into here, this is going to be 0 to 6. Okay. And when we go into here, we've got to continue. Right? So we need to make another button. But in this case, what we could actually just do is do that, then do that, and basically put that in there. Okay. And then when they actually click the button, it's going to do something else. Okay. So if we press play, you'll notice now we have a different layout. Okay. And what we actually need to do now is stop that for a moment, and in here we just change this to 3, save that, press play, and now we have our continue, new game, world, etc. And that gives us all the stuff we want. We've got our my test game, which we probably don't want to show anymore. And that's in the controller. Okay. So we don't need to deal with that anymore. And now what we need to do is, once we have created our, right, so let's say we've created our test game, okay? Well, actually these don't have the actual slots for the saved data. Okay, so what we're actually going to need to do in this case is create a new game. And take it from there. At the moment this isn't enough to get us to where we want to be. And on that we shall have a couple of minutes to refresh our face, and we shall be right back. Okay, so as a reminder, we've just got to remember that our save slots don't store the actual saves, they only store the names of the saves. Okay? So, what we need now is we need another widget basically. And we are not saving it in there. We do need to start thinking about where to save this stuff. We do need another widget here. So here we're creating this widget, right? And we basically need another widget. It's going to be a widget blueprint, and it's going to be widget underscore confirm. Okay? And we're going to have another canvas panel. And this canvas panel is going to be in the center. 0 that out, 0 that out. It's going to size to fit. It's going to be 0.5, 0.5. And then we're going to have a vertical box. And then in the vertical box, we're going to have text. So this text is going to be txt message, and we're going to change it to the right typeface, and the text is going to be centered. And then we are going to have a horizontal box. Right. And then we're going to have button. And our text is going to have 20 padding all around. Except it's not. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a spacer. And that is going to go here. And it's going to have 20 there. And that is going to be wrapped let's say in a horizontal box. And we'll call it 20 there. Actually, that's not going to make any difference, so we'll delete that. Oh, we'll not delete that. What we'll do is we'll delete the horizontal box. So we've got our spacer, which knocks that down 20, which is fine. Then we'll duplicate it, and we shall put it here, which is fine. Then we've got our button, and our button is going to have some text in it. Then we shall duplicate that. And this horizontal box. That's going to be auto. That's better. That's going to be okay. That's going to be cancel. Then we're going to put a spacer again, except the spacer is going to be in here. And this time, instead of the Y, we're going to do it on the X. So that would be 50. And then we're going to have 20. And 20. And in fact, what we'll do here is we'll wrap this in a grid panel. And that goes there. Now we can delete our horizontal box, our grid panel, our column fill is going to be 1, 1, 1, 1. So our first button is going to be at 0, 0. Our spacer is going to be column 1. And our button is going to be column 2. Okay. Our text is going to get changed. Text here is going to get changed, and our grid panel, the padding on the left and right is going to be 50, 50. Okay. That's grid panel. Let's change that to 0.5. 0.3. Okay, so the text. Bang that down to 18. And then once again on this text, I'll change this down to 18. Okay. And then our button, the background is going to be kind of dark blue. Okay, that. Copy that. The button in there, paste it. Okay, and we'll save that. And in our graph, we need a variable called, would you believe, parent. And it's going to be a widget. It's going to be a user widget. Now, we may actually need an interface here. So BPI underscore confirm. This might actually need to be a event dispatcher. Okay. So what we can say is confirm action. We'll do that. We shall save that. Okay. So in here, we can go to our class defaults. Sorry, class settings. And we can add BPI oh, right, we need to do that. Where's the confirm action? Or did I just call it BPI confirm? Yeah, I did. So we've saved that, right? And in here, So we can pull in our parent and say implement interface, and it's BPI confirm. Then we can confirm action. And that's if that's true. So we branch off that. So we don't do any of that shit. And we need to rename our buttons. And in our button here, on clicked, we remove from parent and it's self. Okay. So let's go back to our designer and actually name our buttons. So this is button cancel. And button 103 is button confirm action. And if we go back in here, and we click on button confirm action, we can say on clicked. Do this. And we shall have a txt so we'll call it message. So we're going to have an event construct. That's not what we wanted. So back in here, event construct. Our message is going to be instant editable and expose on spawn. And we're going to get the message. We're going to get the text. Then we're going to set txt message, set text, and that's going to be the message, which is going to be text. Okay. So we confirm that and pop that in there, drag that up, pop that there, and we save that. And the next thing we have to do is put that in there, and put that in there, Okay, drag this down a bit and tidy that up a bit. And straighten that and save that. And then in our managed data, or sorry, in our save slot, we have to go to our class settings and we have to add BPI confirm, then save that, then con event confirm action, we do this. Okay, and on this button we do not, we create widget and that is going to be W confirm, and then the message is, are you sure you want to delete this save? Okay. And actually we're not quite done yet, because this W confirm, the parent needs to be exposed on spawn. So we go back to our save slot, we refresh this, and we get a reference to self, and this directly plugs into the parent. Okay. Now I have no idea if this is going to work or not. This is the first time I've done it like this. Bit of experience, and we shall see what happens. So we go to manage data. We click on this, and it does jack, because we didn't add it to the viewport because we're stupid. Right, so all we need to do in this case is say add to viewport, save that, press play, click on that, my test game, are you sure you want to display this? Go, and it did it. Awesome. So that worked perfectly. So in W confirm, we basically say, okay, we basically remove from parent okay, can save that. Now what we could actually do here is save the text in a data table for each of the different things that we probably want to do. But what I'm going to do in the short term is if we press play again, manage data, you'll notice that we haven't got a save anymore. We should say OK, close that. Stop that. So that's all good. We need to go in here and delete these again. And press play again, and that's going to create our files again. So we can stop. And the next thing we need is the manage data. We don't need this button here. So we can actually delete it. Okay. So we can save that. And the other thing, let's not muck about with that, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to call it a day at that, and I shall be streaming later in around 4 hours, and we shall carry on with this and get the full save game into effect. So if you join me, thanks. You want to support the channel, subscribe, check the description, there's various things in there for you to have a look at, and thanks again. Bye for now.